This is fascinating. This is a fascinating article. Let's talk about it. Another curmudgeon-y boomer that I can do without is Eddie Trunk. But the one topic that he just beats the out of, the dead horse is deader than dead. It is as dead can be. It's pushing up daisies. It's fertilized the ground. It is literally the deadest horse it can be. Which is, bands playing with tracks are not really playing live. I prefer the live round. Oh my God, enough. Enough of this. Sleep Token Play show with pre-recorded tracks for 2 ill members. This is interesting. This could be a hot topic. At last night's show in Zurich, Switzerland, Sleep Token performed using pre-recorded tracks in place of guitarist 4 and bassist 3, who had fallen ill and were unable to play. Fan film footage of this concert has emerged and can be seen further down the page. So there's film out there. The band made the announcement yesterday, informing fans that the band's only members playing stringed instruments would not be on stage. The show will go ahead as planned, using pre-recorded tracks from both 3 and 4, capturing our recent tour preparations, Sleep Token wrote. We always endeavor to avoid canceling a ritual unless completely unavoidable, and we hope this outcome is more acceptable to you than a last-minute cancellation, the statement continued. The group concluded, thank you for your understanding and support through these unforeseen changes. Tonight, we perform for them and for you. This is fascinating. This is a fascinating article. Let's talk about it, shall we? But first things first, let me just take a moment out here to please remind you to like and subscribe. Please subscribe to the channel, and please like the video. It pushes us into the algorithm, and it gets us going forward motion. I'm on the forward motion thing. It's on its way. We're picking up subscribers here and there, but I really want to set a goal. I just want to set a goal to get to, I don't know, let's say 10,000. I want to get to 10,000 subscribers by this time next year. So like a full year. Halloween 2025. I'm not asking for much. It's 10,000 people. So share this with your friends, will you? All right, back to the album. So another curmudgeon-y boomer that I can do without is Eddie Trunk. I am gathering information to do an essay video on Eddie Trunk and how just enough of him I've had in general. But the one topic that he just beats the fuck out of, the dead horse is deader than dead. Okay, it's like it is as dead can be. It's pushing up daisies. It's fertilized the ground. It is literally the deadest horse it can be, which is, bands playing with tracks are not really playing live. I prefer the live round. Oh my fucking God, enough of this. Listen. The only time that I have a problem with an artist putting out or using some sort of backing tracks is simply this. If you go and disparage other artists for doing the same thing. Or you hide it. In this case, Sleep Token is not hiding it. I remember when I saw Periphery several years back. They opened for Dance Gavin Dance. Their bassist Nolly was not on tour with them. I noticed that. And in an interview with Misha Mansour, I asked him, no bassist? They have 3 guitarists. And even with 3 guitars, they still tracked bass tracks. They still used bass tracks. So, and they were open about it. Yeah, Nolly doesn't want to tour anymore. So we just, rather than putting another person in the band and fuck with the cohesion, not to mention the fact that the guy's our brother, so we don't want to get to know anybody else either, we just rather perform without bass. The 3 guitars and the track, plenty. I had no problem with this. This is not a problem to me. This is completely fine. Now, if they were out there pretending to have a bassist, or if the bassist was out there just jamming away, but in reality it's a track playing over, or if you're Paul fucking Stanley and you've disparaged other singers and then trash other singers for using backing tracks, you're a piece of shit. But if you're out there just being like, listen, like Dream Theater, for example. Let's talk about Dream Theater again. James LaBrie, although I've seen videos where he sounds a tad better, still not wonderful. And I'm imagining by the time March rolls around and I see them live, it's going to be an interesting case study. Let's just say that, okay? But if they came out tomorrow in an interview, and James LaBrie is like, yes, I'm 60 something years old. I'm struggling mightily. Folks, this stuff is hard to sing. So I'm having a person backstage singing with me or picking up the slack where I know I'm struggling, but I still want to be here for you. And I know that you fans love me. So I don't want to leave the band, and the band doesn't want to replace me because I know how much the fans love me. Because I've been with the band for 40 years. But I need assistance. I'm old. So I'm doing the best I can. But we're gonna put some tracks out there, and maybe or we'll have a backup singer. Because do you know how many times in the '80s you've seen a band live and they're like, wow, they sound really full. In reality, behind the curtain there's a guy playing guitar, or behind the curtain there's a guy playing keyboards, or behind the curtain there are guys singing or women singing. This has been going on forever. This is not a new phenomenon. The new phenomenon is people whining and complaining about it because we now have phones. We have individual little cameras that we carry around with us all damn day, every single one. If you're in an arena with 30,000 people, there's 30,000 cameras that can be trained on you at any given time. So of course, it's a new it's a new it's a brand new topic now. It's something that's new. But the reality of the situation is Derek Sherinian is largely credited with playing keyboards as a touring keyboardist with Kiss for years. Derek Sherinian. Right? Nobody knew that. Nobody ever saw Derek Sherinian on stage with Kiss during the Crazy Nights tour. It just didn't happen. Ozzy Osbourne had vocalists backstage with him throughout all his tours. You never saw that person. So it wasn't until recently when I say recent history as in like the past 10 years maybe, where you're seeing videos emerge where it's like, oh, he's not even singing. Where's that voice coming from? Duh, it's coming from backstage. And that's okay. What are you paying for? What is the competition? Do you look down if you're the type of fan that looks down on a band for using tracks of any kind, then I have news for you. Most of the bands you love, they all use tracks. There's maybe a handful of bands out there historically that never used any kind of backup track, that never used any kind of backup musician, that never used any kind of like assistance off to the side of the stage. It doesn't happen. So this, and then this is even a more bold decision, because how annoyed would you be? Like, let me ask you this. Leave it in the comments or leave it in the chat. If you went to a show, what would annoy you more? Would it annoy you more to find out that they're still going to put on the show, it's still going to sound awesome, but two of the members were very sick and couldn't be on stage? So we're going to track their parts in so we can still give you a show. Or would you rather it be rescheduled for several months from now with the entire band? Now, obviously, there's a caveat to this. If it's one of the main members, like the lead vocalist or a lead guitarist or someone who's a star of the band, like if you're going to see Dream Theater and you're excited because Mike Portnoy's back in the band, but Mike Portnoy hurts himself or gets sick, and then they I don't know, they coerce Mike Mangini to come back or another drummer to come back and play, or they use a track for the drums, and the other four members are on the stage and Mike Portnoy's not there because he's sick. Obviously, that would probably piss you off, right? Because you want to hear Mike Portnoy. You want to see Mike Portnoy. So there are certain bands like Dream Theater where every member is important, more or less, and you would really like regret not seeing one of those players, or if it was Kiss, or if it was Rush, where there's only three of them. But in a situation with Sleep Token or like Ghost, or most bands where you don't know the bassist or the bassist doesn't do anything spectacular. Sorry, bassist. I'm not shitting on you. I'm just saying, when it's all said and done, 95% of bands, their bassist is the most replaceable part of the band. Drummers are the same way. Unless you have a very unique or an all-timer behind the kit, usually you can handle losing your drummer, or you can handle losing your bassist. It's usually the lead guitarist who's the main songwriter and the singer who is the calling card, or the main voice, or the main sonic thing that you hear from a band that will that would definitely take away from a live performance if you were seeing a band live, right? So I get that, but I'm talking about these bands that are like either Ship of Theseus type bands or a Sleep Token or a Ghost, or where they don't have named players. Slipknot even you could probably get away with this unless it was Corey Taylor or Clown or whoever the drummer is at the time. I mean, they've even survived drummer changes, so that's not even applicable here. So, but in any case, I think this is great. I find this wonderful. I wouldn't mind the least bit if I showed up to a show for Sleep Token or Ghost and found out that they were tracking in a sick member's parts because, I don't know, that's what was needed. So leave it in the chat. Leave it in the comments of this video. And let me know what you think, because I'm constantly, if you're over on Twitter, just go into Eddie Trunk's Twitter page or go on Facebook into, there's a group on Facebook, Eddie Trunk fans or fans of Trunk Nation or some shit like that, where this is a constant topic. And I'll give that group credit, fans of Trunk Nation, half the time they're complaining about what Eddie's talking about again. And again, and again, and again. If it's not bashing on Kiss, then it's bashing on pop stars that use tracks. Or it's bashing on those who, they don't even play their own instruments. Shut the fuck up. Enough. Enough of it. Then don't go. Then don't go. Go see your band. Or if your band is tracking, then don't go see them either. But shut the fuck up. I don't care. I'd rather, like, I went to see Mr. Big last year during their quote-unquote final tour. We'll see if that holds up since Slayer is coming back. Oy vey. I'll hold Slayer for the next show, because Slayer, I'm going to write it down because Slayer is a topic again. Yikes. Like I was started to say, I saw Mr. Big on their quote-unquote final tour. Then they released an album afterwards, so that's why I'm not sure. But I'm pretty sure they're done touring. I'm not 100% sure. But Eric Martin, their singer, he wasn't great. He wasn't terrible. He wasn't bad. I wouldn't even say he was bad. I would just say he was average. But what really made the show great was Nick DiVirgilio, the drummer, picked up a lot of Eric Martin's slack because he's a great singer himself. Now, granted, that dude's on stage, so you can see what he's doing. So this doesn't really apply to this necessarily. But if he was off stage, or if there was a singer off stage, I wouldn't care. I'd rather that than to hear Eric Martin squeak away or like struggle to reach a note. This is where James LaBrie goes wrong with Dream Theater, is that he's struggling to hit notes that he has no business hitting. So stop. So just stop. Just sing what you can. And either put a track out there or just don't have the high note. We'll just skip it. We'll just skip the note. And that'll be part of the conversation. James LaBrie doesn't hit the note. So be it. We don't hit the note. Anyway,